Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nemeka Onyeka Odereri, and I want to discuss on how we can actually sustainably fix the oil and gas sector of Nigeria across all the value chain, and then avoid manipulation and balance the power equation within the industry. Recently, we've heard it's been in the news about the power tussle between Dangote oil refineries and DAPMAN. DAPMAN is Depot Owners Association and Petroleum Marketers, Depot Owners Association of Nigeria. And each and every of the players within the industry represent an important aspect or important part of the industry that we must protect. I listened to the the back and forth between the spokesman of Dangote Refineries and the DAPMAN spokesman, where the spokesman of the Dangote Refineries falsely alleged that DAPMAN destroyed the pipelines of Nigeria. They contributed to this, so that's why, so that they can, control, all manner of false allegations left and right. I want to weigh in here, and I'm happy with what the federal government of Nigeria is doing to create transparency, to sweat value in the oil and gas industry. 2 years ago, I did a published article, and I was also on Arise and Channels to share on how we can actually unbundle the oil and gas industry across all the value chain to make it profitable for Nigeria. I say it again, Nigeria is a fossil fuel rich country, a gas rich country. We have a proven crude reserve of 37.5 billion barrels that we know that we can even explore and dip into about 60 billion barrels. We have proven gas reserve about 206 trillion standard cubic feet of gas, worth over $1.4 trillion. Nigeria is a very massive market, and we can actually control supply of both the white petroleum product and other derivatives across the 600 million man sub-Saharan African market, even down to South Africa. We are that big, and we must maintain that stronghold. Now, I hate monopoly and I hate oligopoly. I hate manipulation of any type. Yes, we give kudos to Alhaji Aliko Dangote for building the largest single train refinery in Nigeria. Well, of course, we know how it was built. Yes, we also appreciate him for taking that audacious step to build it. But of course, we can also not deny the fact that he was supported massively by the Nigerian government and by the central bank governor then, Godwin Emefiele. We know that if not for the kind of level of support that he got from Emefiele and Buhari's government, there's no way if that refinery was to be built just like any other refinery across the world. He got massive support. We don't want to go into details, but of course, we appreciate him for the concept, for having the audacity to even go into that sector. Now, that man has been a very strategic player. I've always said it, and like I said, the Tinubu government in the oil and gas sector, they're taking good steps. And I will give you this: I wrote a published article, and I did a lot of media rounds on what we could do. Firstly, I said on the upstream, if we want the upstream to work efficiently, this NNPC must be unbundled and be made to divest from their majority shareholding in most of the major JVs so that they can become minority. I made it clear that they should divest at least 25 to 30% so that the JVs will stop all this cash costs. It will become an incorporated JV that allow us to deepen exploration and grow that industry. The federal government of today, they are doing this. They are following that pattern. On the second issue, I said the refinery that we have today, the federal government refinery, the Warri refinery, 125,000 barrels a day. The Port Harcourt refinery, 2 trains, 10,000 barrels a day, can never work under the public sector control of NNPC. And I've said it again that the only way we can make it work is to get the NNPC to put the two assets in a bucket, value them. And then for that man, and Ipman, these are two very important arms of our oil and gas sector, downstream. I've said it here. All these things Dangote Refinery is doing. Oh, we are bringing 4,000 trucks. We want to sell from depot, from our refinery to the filling stations. I've never seen anywhere in the whole world. Fact check me and prove me wrong. Because, all these games they try to play in Nigeria, you want to destroy, let me tell you, You want to destroy all the other value chains so that you can have control. It will not work, and it can never work. It has never worked anywhere. Refinery is not like generator that you can start and stop. Once a refinery kickstart, it start producing. There's a reason why we have refinery, we have storages, we have haulage and transportation, and we have retail filling station. 4 key segments of the downstream. And there's a reason why we also try to protect these 4 key segments from being controlled by one person. Very, very important. There's a reason why it is so. Because of the issue of manipulations and all the rest of it, where there is no competitiveness in the market, where there is no transparency, where every other person is chokehold out of the system. For one person to have dominance, it will not work. If the Dangote refineries are very, very sincere, because one of the reasons why the marketers are complaining, and which is the truth, I don't see reason why you will supply 20 million tons of product to a depot owner, to the refineries, to those in downstream. 2 weeks after, you will amend the price, you will crash it by 50 naira, by 100 naira, knowing fully well that those who has purchased at a higher price, the margin is very, very thin, may have not even sold half of the cargo. If the Dangote refinery people are sincere, what they will have done, and which is what is done in every other climate, in every of the depots where they supply product, they should have a rep. What is simply means, if for any reason, because market fluctuates, if for any reason within a space of 2-3 weeks, prices crash, or you reduce your prices, all you just need for them to do haulaging, they will do a dip. If you supply somebody 10,000, 20 million, and the person has sold 10 million when you adjusted the price, whatever is remaining, you discount it to that current price and give them a credit note, which they will use for the next purchases. In such a way, nobody is wiped out. But they will not hear it. They want to do it their own way. But the federal government of Nigeria must have to rise up to the occasion. Dapman and Ipman must come together and work together. And let me explain to you how it's going to work. We have NNPC refineries that are not working, and that will never work unless we fix it and we privatize it. NNPC, federal government of Nigeria, should value the 2 assets. Dapman and Ipman should create an SPV, which they are going to use for this acquisition. Federal government should value it, sell down 80% of the value of those refineries, start 30 to 40% to Ipman and Dapman, member SPV, 40% to Nigerians, and then we will list this new incorporated entity on the floor of Nigeria Stock Exchange. But it's going to be operated under what we call fixed cost plus 30% margin, because we know that is the only way we can guarantee energy security, crash price of petroleum products within this country. We will not allow one man to have total control of our energy and gas sector. It's not going to help us in the long run. Under this arrangement, there is already a 445,000 barrels crude allocated to those refineries. Even if we don't want to allocate it, we can actually provide them with marginal fuels that they can use to produce the crude that will go into refining within those refineries. We know that the production cost averages about $30 to $40 per barrel. Even if you add $10, which is the cost of refining 1 barrel, and you put 30% margin on it, but go back to the Glencores and the Trafigura's and the Vitol of this world to buy the same product as refined Nigeria. Does it make sense? So we appreciate everybody in the industry, but we must protect this industry against every manipulation. We don't want this thing to be like cement. Where today we are buying a bag of cement for 10,500 when we know practically that. So we don't want the oil and gas industry to be like the cement industry, where we know practically that all 90% of the raw materials used to produce cement in Nigeria are domesticated here. Yet we are buying a 50 kg bag of cement here. It does not make sense. The Dangote Cement is the only cement company in the whole world that has an earnings before interest, tax, and business allowance of about 58.9%. Go and fact check this from the Chinese entity that is 10 times bigger than Dangote Cement EBITDA of over 30%. The only cement company in the whole world that has earnings before tax and business allowance of 58.9% is Dangote Cement. And of course, we know what is happening. Nobody's against anybody setting up a company to maximize. But nobody's against anybody setting up companies to maximize profit. But consumers must be protected. And therefore, we must ensure that what is happening in the cement industry does not happen in the oil and gas industry. He's free to buy his truck, so he's free to sell. Let me tell you what's going to happen. By the time he has the control of the whole downstream, He will not start manipulating they will start manipulating the prices and start fixing it the way he wants it. We should not allow it to happen. We have refineries that are not working. The federal government of Nigeria, and that man should wake up. That man and that man should wake up. This idea of waiting for allocations from NNPC before they will take product and whatever, they should wake up and contribute their own quota. Nigeria needs storage facilities here. In the US, they have strategic reserve of almost about 1.5 billion barrels. They have over 50 underground storage reserves that ranges between 30 to 6 to 10 million barrels. Those storage tanks we have across Nigeria are very, very important to us maintaining strategic reserves across the whole wide value chain, product value chain. Therefore, the federal government of Nigeria and NNPC, to protect this industry from manipulations and monopolistic tendencies, must, as a matter of urgency, convene a meeting of Darkman and Ipman, let them set up their own SPV, value the refineries in Port Harcourt and Warri, let them take 40%, sell 40% to Nigerians, let the SPV be listed on the floor of the Nigeria Stock Exchange, let them have the crude that is allocated to those refineries and let it work. They can also collocate an additional 160,000 barrels per day single train refinery at either in Warri or in Port Harcourt, and the cost will be less than 50% because there are already existing facilities. Let us do the right things. We appreciate everyone, but we should not allow anybody suffocate the other players and run them out. If you look at the volume of contribution of Darkman members in Nigeria, the type of people that they've employed, the kind of volume they've done in Nigeria, suffocating them out will simply create a lot of unemployment and destroy this industry. We should not allow it to happen. God bless and thank you. Please share, make it go viral.